Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the 31st of March. I believe this is day six of when I started this little project. Um, it was a good day. It was a pretty good day. I think we're gonna give this one almost a seven. Before I get into the events of the day, I'm going to go back and talk about basically my time in the US. I'm not going to chronicle every single day that I was there, just things that were eventful, that were relevant, that come to mind, that people can share, and if they can take relief or a lesson from it, then great. I think yesterday I talked about how we were the first weekend I was there, that Saturday and that Sunday. I had my mom's friend, my friend as well, come over, and we just made a start on sorting things. And in a way, I mean, that was hard, but it was also kind of cathartic. And we did have a few laughs about things. I guess my brother and my sister-in-law came over, we found the Coleman picture. But we found other things as well that were quite funny. We found a box of old photographs. I mean, these are really old. And I said, my God, we can't throw these away. We've got to keep these. My brother says, yeah, I'll take them to the house, absolutely. And I found my mom. I did know about this. My mom went to California. I think it was her senior year in high school, and they went out there for an entire summer. And it's during the Vietnam War and everything. And these were on these old Kodachromes, the slide things. And we were looking at them, and I found whatever, and the big glasses had band flower power. It was just like, whoa. We wanted to get it. I guess you can get those made into photographs, but it takes a few days. You got to send them away. And I thought, oh man, that would be perfect for the memory board, but we didn't have time to do it. But we're going to keep that one. That's definitely one for the album. We found in a box my mom's. I talked about how we found her old employee evaluations, and we found her old school report cards. Now she kept those well hidden, and we know why, because she always told us that her parents were very strict with her and expected her to be a straight A student, and she was not a straight A student, and we had the report cards to prove it. She wasn't a bad student. She wasn't a great student. Some B's, some C's, and D's. Didn't fail anything. And I showed this to my brother, and I thought, yeah, she was feeding us a line. And found her prom picture. She went with some dork. I don't know who it was. And we were looking at him, and we found that we were having a laugh. We were laughing. And then suddenly we stopped and going, kind of like, should we be laughing at a time like this? And then I think, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't feel like it's gotta all be sad. If you have a happy memory and you share it, it makes you laugh, do it. I don't give a shit. Do it. I don't care. It can be in the middle of a funeral. I don't care. Do it. Um, it's sad enough. That Monday was the day my brother and I had to go and meet with the pastor of the church so we could organize the service. I was dreading that. I was just like, oh, do we have to do this? Yeah, because the guy doesn't know your parents, so you'd appreciate maybe knowing something to say. But we got to the church, and they showed us around. They showed us where, how many people they could seat, and it was big. And they said we put extra seating out. And I said, look, I don't mean to brag, but I think we're going to need it because my parents were really well known in this community and in the community up north. We know some people are making the drive down. And they said, yeah, we'll do it. And good thing we did. I'll talk about the funeral another day. And they showed us the actual church part of it. It was so pretty. It wasn't like I don't want to say gaudy Catholic church, but I find Catholic churches can be a little OTT with the decorations and the crosses and the, show offiness. And it's like, I've never agreed with that. Why put the money into that when people are starving? You're supposed to be a church. This was so lovely and it was so calming. And I thought, wow, but it also gave me this sense of, ooh, this is where it's going to happen. But they had it decorated really nice. And yeah. then we had the meeting with the pastor, really nice man. And my brother and I are like, "What do we tell him? What do we say? I don't know." And my brother kept saying, "Well, this is our first time doing this." And I said, "Yeah, it's probably our last one as well. We don't have any other parents. Um, I don't think we have any unless, it's just he and I. Whoever goes first is probably going to be planning each other's. Let's not think about that." And we were worried. We didn't really know what to tell him. But he kind of guided us through it. He says, "Well, he told us how he likes to start, and it's just about the process of grieving and how we grieve together." And then, he said, "Now we want to get to sort of anecdotes about them and their life." And we started with one story about how they met and how my parents didn't really like each other when they met. They knew each other in high school. And then they met later. They were seeing other people at the time. And then later they met, and that was it. We talked about, and we found that when we got the first story out, a lot of other stories came, and he said he had, oh my God, he says, "I've got so much material to work with now." We talked about the time that I was really little, and we went to Arizona. My brother was a baby. He didn't remember this. And I said that I didn't understand. We went out for Christmas. And when I got there, it was warm. And I didn't understand. I thought, "Oh, is it Christmas here still? Is it still December?" And my dad looked at me like, "Yeah, of course." And I was like, "But there's no snow. It's warm. People are in the swimming pool. I don't understand." I was like 6 years old. I didn't understand climates. And yeah, he told that story. And I didn't understand that you couldn't walk on clouds because I was really mad that the pilot wouldn't pull the plane over and let me walk on a cloud. Uh, my brother came up with the one about, oh, the cat story. My dad found a dead cat. He wanted to do something for a science fair. He didn't want to order it properly through a science company. So he found one on the side of the road, chucked it in the freezer, forgot about it, did something else. Thanksgiving rolls around. My grandmother rolls up this dead cat on the, there's a couple of stories like that. And yeah, before we knew it, he had more than enough to work with. There was a couple of really tense moments because my brother was talking about the day, and he didn't know. Obviously, you don't know that's going to be the day. And they were just a few hours before the accident. My brother and my dad were out watch shopping, and he says that was the last conversation I had with my dad. And he started broke down, and I was like, "Oh God, this set me off in a minute." Um, but Pastor said something really interesting. He said, "We'd like to keep it at about 45 minutes. Um, we feel like 30 minutes, you're not doing the person justice. An hour, it tends to be a bit much for people. It's like, come on, because these things are really draining. And then, everybody wants to eat." So, yeah, yeah. And we found that as we got talking, it was a bit better. It was still hard to do, but we were there for about an hour and a half just talking about our parents and the generosity that they showed animals. They're caring for animals. My mom's worked with people from addiction. My dad being very musical, very highly respected in his field, got his PhD, just so much. And despite the fact that it was incredibly hard to do, we left there feeling like, okay, it's in hand now. We've just got to get through the service. So that was Monday in the service. There was a visitation on the Friday, and there was a really tense moment at that one. And then the service was on the Saturday. So, and that was kind of what we were like, we just have to get through Saturday. That's it. Then it all begins. A lot of people think that, once the service is over, and there's a little bit of relief with that. Um, the healing begins. I suppose it does on some level, but I think the tidal wave begins, and these things come in waves. So anyway, that was meeting with the pastor. And like you said, it was a bit cathartic, and we did have some laughs at that one too. So if you're ever in this situation and you find you're telling a story and it makes you want to laugh, don't be ashamed to do it. Do it, because it's a shitty enough situation. And we also made that point that we really want to emphasize, we want it to be a celebration as much as possible. I mean, it's never easy to do, but these things are big enough downers. We don't want to make it any worse. Okay, so circling back to today. One thing I wanted to do, I mentioned this in another video, was start maybe an education channel where students can get materials for free. There's a lot of them on YouTube, but I'd like to do like a really comprehensive course, kind of like what I was doing for revenue share, but never really got much revenue. And if I do this right, I could probably get just as much, if not more, off YouTube. And I know YouTube revenue share is not great, but hey. So I was struggling making a second channel on one email. I didn't want to start a new one with a new email, says Buddy. Budsky. Finally figure out how to do it today. So I actually set the channel up. So I've actually started making the first class. I'm not going to push it right now. If I get one video up every 2 weeks, that's great. I'll aim for more because, if I want to do a complete GCSE course, you're looking at a lot of videos. And then you want to do other subjects. Yes. Yeah, but it's a start. Like I say, you just got to start. So I did that today. I was really proud of myself for being able to do that. Then, of course, I had to go send the eBay order. So I sent the eBay order and then it was out to the allotment. Oh, and today I what kind of thing flipped the switch today a little bit was last night I was talking about how the counseling and the calling and having to answer the same damn questions over and over and over again and just being told, all right, there's some numbers you can call. And I wrote down one of the numbers yesterday that the girl gave me, and I was about ready to call it this morning. And then I looked at it and I just thought, fuck it. This is just not helping. You're going to get another person. Whether they can help you or not, you're going to have to go through the whole story again. You're going to get upset, and then you're just not going to want to do anything today. Why are you pursuing this if it's not helping you? You've got an appointment with Northamptonshire Talking Therapy Mental Health in May. That was the one that got booked from March. Just stick with that one for now. And then maybe go from there. Maybe they can refer you to a grief counselor. Stop chasing it. Just stick with what you've got because it's just making you worse. But when I made that decision to say, sod it, I'm just not going to deal with these twats. So I felt a little bit better. And then I went out to the allotment. Went out to the allotment, did the feed and the water. And then I thought, okay, let's just try an hour of digging. You know, let's see if you can handle an hour. And I did. And I spread it out and it's starting to even out a bit. And I went back and I had another incident of the bus being late. Phoned in, but I didn't let that. And yeah, it's irritating. But the thing is, I didn't let it zap my energy and I didn't get so mad that, I didn't want to do anything. I got home, made lunch, chilled out, posted some eBay stuff. I've still got to find the Patsy Cline album that I've got a box up for tomorrow. And made myself that promise that at least I'm going to put the kickboxing uniform on tonight. And then hopefully I connect and go. And I went today. And I only did the one class, the hour and a half class, but it was good. I had a good time. It was a challenge, but I got through it. I got clunked in the head with a stick. My fault. But I had a good time. And a couple of people hadn't seen me since I got back, so I talked to them about what was going on with Glenn. And also the nice thing is about stick fighting. I was kind of going back and forth on, am I going to do these tournaments? And he asked about one, and I said, well, one's on the 19th, and that's in Luton or outside of Luton. And he's like, well, do you want to go? And I was like, well, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I haven't trained much, but I might as well jump in and just see how I do. And he goes, well, if you want to go, I'll drive, because I'd like to go down and see everybody. So it looks like I'm doing at least that one. And then so the one after that is in Bristol. He says, well, you can use Luton as a jumping off point and then do the next one. And I said, I might do it. I might not. We'll see. We'll see what's in me. We'll see what's in the tank. I'll make that decision. Maybe I got to get right down there. First of all, I'm not going to go spend the night in a hotel just to do it. If I can get it right down there, I might jump in and do it. Because it is nice to see everybody. So yeah, I mean, that was sort of the day. Um, Creeped up there. Doesn't mean every day is going to be a 7 from now on. Now we've got Cleo about to join us. But at least I'm recognizing kind of what's working and what's not working. And I also had a conversation with another person at kickboxing and about mental health, and he's like, oh, he says, yeah, some of it's all right, but it's just a chore, just trying to find the right people to talk to, and a lot of it is just horrible. It's useless. And I explained the call I got yesterday, and he was just like, oh, really? That bad? I was like, yeah. What's bothering you? My parents died. Okay, so that's the problem. Yeah. And then Glenn chimes in. No, you should have said, I got a banana at Sainsbury's that was a bit rotten. That's really gotten. He's a joker. Right. So tomorrow is a busy day. But it's a good day. It's a good thing to do because we're picking up a bunch of IBCs so we can get prepared for when I have to go back to the States because we're going to get the water service in. And yeah, so that's going to be moving forward. Depending on how we only have the van for 3 hours, so I'm hoping I can stay out there and do a bit more digging. And then, or back here, because I'd also like to maybe do the bike. I have to see what time they're picking me up. Anyway, it's one of those things that's not sort of in my normal routine, but something that we'll do it. It'll be okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, I do see that some of the videos are getting some watches, so I'm glad. That makes me happy. I hope it's helpful. And yeah, everybody take care. I'll hopefully be on tomorrow with the day and how it's progressing. And yeah, just remember you're not alone in this. Okay, everybody, have a great night and ciao.